The room buzzed with uneasy energy. Employees laughed, whispered, oblivious. To them, it was just another corporate event, just another dull gathering. They were wrong. Today, their world would shatter. Today, the masks would fall. Today, they would learn a lesson they'd never forget. James Carter stood at his office window, eyes dark, face unreadable. He had built this empire: blood, sweat, strategy, and now, rot, lies, backstabbing. His company had a sickness, and he intended to cure it. Reports had reached him. Employees bullied, hard workers are overlooked, a culture of arrogance and corruption. He had a choice: fire them from afar, or watch the poison up close. He chose the latter. Gone was James Carter, billionaire CEO. In his place, Jim, the intern. Cheap hoodie, glasses, timid slouch, just another nobody. Perfect. Jim entered the office. No greetings, no smiles, just smirks. Eyes scanned him, dismissing him. A nobody. Then the whispers started. Who let the nerd in? Hope he doesn't mess up the coffee orders. Laughter, mockery, but James only smiled. Let them laugh. They had no idea. Jim listened. Every conversation, every slip-up. A lazy employee is promoted over a hard-working one. A manager takes credit for another's ideas. Secrets buried under meetings and spreadsheets. But then, something worse. A dark secret. A name mentioned in hushed tones, transactions that didn't add up. Millions are gone. James had come for workplace toxicity. He found a conspiracy. Jim spilled coffee. Hot liquid spread across the desk. Ryan, the office tyrant, stood, slow clapping. Bravo, Jim! You're a real asset to the team! Laughter exploded. Jim clenched his fists, boiling inside. But outside, he grinned. Not yet. Let them enjoy this while they could. Late at night, Jim sneaked into an office. Locked files. Confidential reports. His stomach tightened. Names. Transfers. A cover-up. They were planning to pin the theft on an innocent employee. His mission had changed. It wasn't just about respect anymore. It was about justice. Morning, a mandatory meeting, confused faces, whispered questions. Then the doors swung open. James Carter walked in. Not Jim, not the intern, the CEO. Silence. Faces drained of color. Reality hit them like a freight train. James threw a folder onto the table. I came here looking for answers, he said, voice calm. And I found them. Lies, theft, corruption. Panic spread. Ryan swallowed hard, his arrogance crumbling. And now, James continued, it's time for consequences. Security entered. Doors locked. No one leaves, James declared. Not until I find the traitor. Silence. Then, a scream. The lights flickered. Total darkness. Red emergency lights pulsed through the office. Phones buzzed, doors locked with a mechanical hiss. Nobody leaves until we get answers, James Carter's voice cut through the tension. Ryan swallowed hard, sweat beading on his forehead. Others shifted in their seats, whispering. Then, a bang. A distant door slamming shut. The traitor was on the move. Security fanned out. James led the way. His mind raced. The stolen millions, the cover-up. Someone inside the company had orchestrated it. And now, they were running. But they wouldn't get far. James turned a corner. A shadow flickered at the end of the hallway. Heavy footsteps thudded against the floor. Stop right there, he barked. The figure hesitated, then bolted. James sprinted after them. Security close behind. The figure ducked into an office, slammed the door. Locked. James nodded to security. A key card beeped. The door swung open. Empty. A window was wide open, curtains flapping in the night air. He's on the ledge, a guard muttered. James stepped forward, looked down. 10 stories up. A gloved hand clung to the ledge. A foot dangled, searching for a foothold. The wind howled. James recognized the man instantly. Derek, the CFO. It had been him all along. "Derek, this is insane!" James called out. "There's nowhere to go!" Derek's wild eyes darted. His breath came in panicked gasps. Then a slip. His fingers lost their grip. A scream tore through the night. And then a hand shot out. James lunged forward, catching Derek's wrist. His grip tightened. "Pull me up!" Derek pleaded, legs flailing. James gritted his teeth. He should let him fall. Let justice take its course. But that wasn't who he was. Not yet. James's muscles strained. Sweat dripped from his forehead. "Why?" he demanded. "Why steal from your own company?" Derek groaned, fear flashing in his eyes. "You wouldn't understand." James pulled harder. "Try me." Derek hesitated. Then, "The money's not here anymore." James froze. "What?" Derek's lips trembled. "I wasn't working alone." James's stomach dropped. Then, a sharp pain. A hand shoved him from behind. His balance wavered. James felt himself falling. James felt the world tilt. Air rushed past him. His body dropped, weightless. Then, a yank. A sharp, jarring stop. His hand still clutched Derek's wrist. But now, they were both dangling over the edge. Below, the city lights stretched like distant stars. 10 stories down, the pavement waited. James's fingers burned. His grip weakened. Derek thrashed, panicked. "Hold still!" James barked. Above them, a shadow loomed. James craned his neck. A figure stood at the ledge, silhouetted against the emergency lights. Not security, not an ally. Another traitor. A familiar voice, low, calm. "Let go, James, or you both die." Ryan. James's mind raced. Ryan? How? Why? Derek gasped, realization dawning. "It was you?" Ryan smirked. "You were getting sloppy, Derek. Had to clean up the mess." James clenched his jaw. His grip was slipping. His strength was fading. James made a decision. With a roar, he swung Derek toward the ledge. Derek scrambled, grabbing onto the edge. His fingers scraped against the concrete, but he held on. James twisted, reached up. A boot slammed into his hand. Pain shot up his arm. His grip slipped. Ryan was kicking him off. James gritted his teeth. He had seconds left. Then, a distant voice, shouting, "Security." Ryan hesitated. That hesitation was all James needed. With one final burst of strength, James grabbed Ryan's ankle. Yanked. Ryan yelped, stumbling backward. He crashed onto the rooftop, stunned. James hauled himself up. His muscles screamed in protest. But he wasn't done yet. Ryan scrambled to his feet, reaching for something in his pocket. A knife. James and Ryan circled each other. Derek lay gasping by the ledge, too weak to move. James locked eyes with Ryan. "Why?" Ryan twirled the knife. "Power, James. The company's bigger than you now." James nodded. "Not for long." Ryan lunged. James sidestepped, grabbed Ryan's wrist, twisted. A sharp crack. The knife clattered to the floor. Ryan cried out, clutching his arm. Security stormed in. "Take him!" James ordered, chest heaving. Ryan struggled, but it was over. The guards pinned him down, cuffing him. Derek coughed. "What now?" James exhaled and straightened his suit. "Now!" His eyes darkened. "We find the real mastermind." Sirens wailed in the distance. Ryan was dragged away. Derek was taken into custody. But James wasn't satisfied. Something wasn't right. Then, a vibration. His phone, a message. Unknown number. "You're too late. It's already begun." James's blood ran cold. James stared at his phone. the unknown number glaring back at him. "You're too late. It's already begun." His heart pounded. What had already begun? Who was behind it? Then, another buzz, a second message. Tick, tock. James bolted into action. He called security. "Lock down the entire building. Nobody leaves." Derek, still cuffed, watched from the corner. "You don't get it," he muttered. "This isn't just about money anymore." James turned. "Then what is it?" Derek hesitated. His eyes darted to the window. "They're going to burn it all down." James's stomach clenched. "Who?" Derek shook his head. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." James grabbed him by the collar. "Try me." Before Derek could answer, a loud boom rocked the building. Lights flickered, alarms blared, smoke curled through the hallway. James turned to the security chief. "Fire suppression systems, activate them now." But the guard's pale face told him everything. "They've been disabled." James's blood ran cold. Whoever was behind this had planned for everything. Derek coughed, the smoke thickening. "Told you." James glared at him. "Who are they?" Derek smirked. "You're looking in the wrong place, boss." James narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" Derek leaned in. "The traitor's not locked up. He's still out there." James's mind raced. Ryan had been taken into custody. Derek was right here. That only left. Another explosion rattled the floor beneath them. Security yelled through their radios. "East Wing compromised. We have hostiles inside." James's pulse quickened. It wasn't just sabotage. This was an attack. He grabbed Derek and pulled him toward the emergency exit. "If you want to live, you're coming with me." Derek hesitated, then nodded. The moment they stepped into the stairwell, a voice echoed above them. "Going somewhere?" James froze. He knew that voice. His stomach twisted. It was someone he trusted. The shadowed figure stepped into view, a gun in hand. Intro. The final betrayal. James locked eyes with the shadowed figure at the top of the stairwell. His pulse pounded in his ears. The gun gleamed under the dim emergency lights. Then the figure stepped forward. It was Marcus. James's stomach dropped. His right-hand man. His most trusted advisor. "Why?" James demanded. Marcus smirked. "Because power belongs to those willing to take it." Scene 1. The standoff. Derek tensed beside James. The stairwell was silent except for the distant crackle of flames. James's voice was steady. "You disabled the security. You sent the messages." Marcus tilted his head. "You always were sharp. Too bad you didn't see this coming." He cocked the gun. "End of the line, boss." James moved fast. He shoved Derek aside and lunged. A shot rang out. The bullet grazed his shoulder, searing hot. James tackled Marcus, slamming him into the wall. The gun clattered down the stairs. They struggled. Fists flew. Marcus was strong. But James had everything to lose. He drove a punch into Marcus's ribs, another to his jaw. Marcus stumbled but recovered fast. He grabbed James by the throat, shoving him back. Derek scrambled for the fallen gun. James gasped for air as Marcus tightened his grip. Spots danced in his vision. Then, a loud click. Marcus froze. Derek stood behind him, gun aimed steady. "Let him go!" Marcus sneered. "You don't have the guts." Derek's hand shook. He hesitated. James saw his chance. He grabbed Marcus's wrist, twisted. A sickening crack. Marcus screamed, collapsing to his knees. The fight was over. Security stormed in seconds later, guns raised. James staggered back, panting. "Take him!" Guards swarmed Marcus, pinning him to the ground. He glared up at James. "This isn't over." James stepped closer, his voice ice cold. Yes, it is! The chaos settled. The fires were contained. Derek stood beside James, rubbing his wrists where the cuffs had been. "So what now?" Derek asked. James exhaled. His company had been betrayed. His trust was shattered, but he was still standing. "Now," James said, "we rebuild, and we make sure this never happens again." As the sun rose over the city, James checked his phone one last time. One new message: "You won this round." But the game isn't over. James clenched his jaw. Who else was out there? Who was really pulling the strings? He slipped the phone into his pocket, eyes dark with determination. The fight wasn't over. Not yet. If you enjoyed this thrilling story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. What do you think happens next? Let us know in the comments.